All right. Let's move on to our second marquee game of the day. And this one is an exciting one. Number 2, Notre Dame is a 5.5 point favorite at BetMGM at North Carolina. This game is on Friday afternoon, baby. Friday, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Over under 67.5. I'll tell you that I did play the over 66. If you follow me on the app, I make this about 70. I think Notre Dame is vulnerable down the field, and you can attack them with explosive plays. It's something that Clemson scratched the surface of, but they just didn't let DJU throw it down the field. And the times that he did, he had so much success, but they just kept trying to run Travis Etienne. By the way, why can't Clemson run the ball this year? But Notre Dame just stuffed the box. But I think they're vulnerable down the field. And you want to talk about explosive offense. That's what UNC is. And so I think they're going to hit some explosive plays here. I don't think they're going to get many stops. So I think this game's a shootout, back and forth. I think North Carolina is going to have a shot to win it. I make the line 4, maybe a little under 4. This UNC offense is a top 5 offense in the country. Notre Dame's a top 10 offense in the country. I like the UNC defense. There's so many holes. The defensive line is just dreadful too. So it's going to be tough for them to get stops, but I think they can keep up. And waiting to see how high this line can get. Would love to get 6 or 7. If not, I might throw them in round robin. But I lean UNC. I've already played the over 66. I make it 70. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, over in North Carolina here for me. I haven't got a piece of the over yet, but something I'm definitely I don't see how you could take an under in this matchup. And frankly, with Notre Dame, I think the victory, can I say that they're overrated from the victory against Clemson? I mean, it was on their home field and Clemson was missing their most important pieces in the middle of the defense. Their best defensive lineman was out in the first half. They had hid what the playbook was going to be the entire season. So it took Venables a little while to get used to that. I know they beat Clemson. I know that's a big deal. Still, it was a quarterback change and the best players on defense were missing. I think when there's a rematch between Notre Dame and Clemson, I think it's going to go a different way. And so let's talk about this game and how that applies. Notre Dame on defense ranks outside the top 70 in both explosive categories against the run and the pass. And North Carolina on offense is top 25 through the air and on the ground in explosiveness offensively. The secondary just has way too many tackles. I mean, safety Sean Crawford alone, he has 9 missed tackles. Both starting corners, Crawford and Kyle Hamilton, along with corner Nick McLeod, have been burned for 50-yard passing plays. 11 players on this team, on this defense, have been burned for 20-yard passes, at least a minimum of 20-yard passes. 11 players. And I mean, I'm not even counting when, you're not targeted as a defensive tackle or a defensive end. There's, I think some of these Notre Dame players, I mean, we go back to the Clemson game again. You and I talked about preseason, the problem, the hole with Clemson was their wide receiver core. We didn't know who was going to step up, take over for Justin Ross, take over for T. Higgins. And I think it's something that Notre Dame kind of got away with, and now it's going to get exposed against somebody like De'Ami Brown. Listen, Javonte Williams is averaging 11 yards after catch. That's the highest on the team, 11 yaks per catch. And, Ian Book, their Notre Dame passing attack, they just can't keep up with this. They can't keep up with Sam Howell, what he's going to do. And that's the thing that worries me about taking North Carolina pregame, which I did, is that they like to fall behind and they like to play from behind. And you have to think that Notre Dame wants this to be a grind. At 103, their rank is 103rd in seconds per play. Tempo is not very fast, and maybe they want to keep it that way as a grind on the ground against a North Carolina defense that is pretty suspect in the trench. But at the same time, if North Carolina gets down by 2 scores, it's time to go bombs away. And that's something, Brian Kelly came out in his presser on Monday and immediately started talking about the glance route, the double RPO that Sam Howell runs in the glance route. He was worried about it the second he rolled out of bed on Monday morning and didn't even have his coffee. So Notre Dame is 19th in line yards. UNCD is 110th. The Irish can control the trench. But like I said, if UNC gets down, they're just going to go ape shit with bombs over 25 yards. I think North Carolina keeps it within the number. I think they have a very good chance of upsetting Notre Dame. I think splitting a unit up in between playing it pregame and then playing it live is a wise decision, especially if you want to get over 7. I absolutely think this is upset watch here. And I don't mind that because I don't really feel like the ACC should get 2 teams into the playoff. I would prefer that it was spread out a little bit. If you get Notre Dame a loss here, then them or Clemson are going to have 2 losses, and neither of them will make the playoff. So we'll see how that plays out. But I do like North Carolina a bit here.
Yeah, North Carolina has to get the book and sack them a couple times, maybe force a turn. That's how they're going to have to get a stop. They're decent at getting the quarterback, but they get no push. They're outside the top 100 in basically every metric. They're just going to get shoved around. You can just run right down their throat. But that's how they're going to have to get a stop. Passing down, get the book, force a sack, or maybe on the second down, get them way behind the chains or force a turnover. Should be an exciting game. I'll be on UNC in some form or fashion, and I'm already on the over.